What's up, people? Welcome back. It's the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Day broadcast happening live right now. And a big shout out again, thanks to Dave Curley. Let's hear your beautiful booming voice.
Hey, baby.
Wow. So, guys, we are taking donations all week long for the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. The website address is right along the bottom there. And I'm just challenging you guys to donate $1 per person that you know that's ever had any cancer. And feel free, if you do make a donation, to let us know in the comments here on the Facebook Live so that we can give you a shout out. If you have somebody that you're donating in honor of, please definitely let us know that as well. So we're really excited to have our next guest join us here in just a second. Amy Pippi Boyd is a friend of mine who I've known for about 20 years, and she was recently diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and we're really excited to have her. Amy, are you there today?
Hi.
What's up, rocker? How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Hey, you're awesome. Thanks for being our headliner.
Of course.
That's so cool. So I was just telling everybody that you and I met years and years ago, probably about, don't you think it was about 20 years ago?
It was about 20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
They're mutual friends.
Yeah. And so you were aware of my story and my challenges going through breast cancer, triple negative breast cancer.
Yeah.
And had heard all about that. And then in January, well, you know, before I get to that, I got to ask you something because I don't want to forget. So your Facebook, Amy Pippi Boyd.
Yes.
Pippi, talk to us about that. You're a roller derby chick. Is that tied to that?
Yeah, I play roller derby, or I did right before I was diagnosed. I skated for North Texas Roller Derby in Denton.
Sweet.
And Pippi Bomb Stocking is my roller derby name. And
Sweet.
roller derby actually helped me find my breast cancer.
Wow. So that was a great lead-in. So how did it help you find your breast cancer?
In roller derby, your breast area is actually a legal hitting zone. So I took some hits, and they didn't seem to heal quite right. So I went in and got a mammogram, had them checked out, and one of them turned out to be triple negative breast cancer.
Wow. And I remember this was on January 18th of this year,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it's very recent.
Yeah. And so when you were first diagnosed, they staged you pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, stage 3.
And so what gave them the power to just stage you so quickly? What was it about your breast cancer that told them that it was stage 3?
Basically, they look at the size of the tumor and whether or not there's any lymph node involvement. In my case, my tumor was over 5 centimeters, and I did have at least 1 or 2 lymph nodes involved, so my doctor staged it at stage 3.
Wow. And I remember when that happened, it was a very scary time for you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of tests they put you through to find out, exactly the extent of the malignancy, and thank God it's just stage 3.
Yeah, and we had talked about it, and you hadn't been going for mammograms frequently, and I think one of the things when you and I talked about it that you kind of wanted to tell people is make sure that you are getting your mammograms, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm only 43, and I think they're generally recommending them around age 40.
They were saying 40, and they switched to 50, but doctors still say 40, so definitely I would go at 40 for sure.
So I was right around that age where you want to start getting one, but, I mean, look how quickly it got into stage 3. If I had caught this earlier, I may have had a shortened treatment cycle. Right now I'm doing the whole thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So how soon after you were diagnosed did you start treatment?
Within a week, I had my chemo port put in, which is it's a medical device that they put inside you that helps you get the medicine from the chemotherapy faster. I had that put in within a week, and within 11 days, I was taking chemotherapy.
Are you able to, and only show it if you're comfortable, you made the mistake of telling me I didn't have to avoid any conversation. Is it possible for you to show without, doing anything revealing? Show people what the port looks like? I don't know if they can see.
I don't know if you can get it.
Yeah.
There's like a little bump right here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It looks, if you took it out, it would look like a sponge with a wire on it. And it's basically where they put the needle in for the chemotherapy so that it gets into your body faster. I do know someone that had to do chemotherapy the old-fashioned way where they put it in an IV in your arm, and it took her 6 hours to get her chemotherapy.
Wow,
and
this is a lot
so
longer.
it's really, it really helps you get your medicine faster. It's a life-saving device that they put in there.
Yeah, I had that done when I went through triple negative breast cancer back in 2010 through 2011. So, and I think we've already talked about, and it's a whole nother conversation that I talked about a little bit, I believe, in the video that we just watched, it when they put my port in, actually punctured my lung, and I had my lung collapse, and then that was a whole other thing. So yeah, it's actually a very important piece to the whole puzzle with chemo and being able to give your chemo a lot easier. And so what chemotherapy, I mean, I know, but we're telling people who are watching, what's the chemotherapy that you are on right now?
So right now it's what they call AC chemo. It's adriamycin and Cytoxan.
Right.
Adriamycin is one of the strongest chemotherapy drugs out there. It's called the Red Devil. It actually is red when it comes out of the bag.
Right. And when it comes out, when you go to the bathroom later
it comes
too.
Out, you go to the bathroom too.
Yeah, they tell you, they're like, okay, don't freak out when you go pee next. It's going to just be red. It's the most bizarre thing, is it not? I mean, I remember it really well.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
You're not
isn't it?
bleeding though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then so after this adriamycin Cytoxan, are you going to be doing Taxol?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be doing 12 treatments of that.
12. Wow, that's a lot. See, when I had it, I had four rounds of the AC and 4 of the Taxol. So yeah. So I know you've been going through some challenges with the AC. Let everybody know how that's been going for you. I mean, what kind of effects have you had?
Yeah, my first go round was really rough. I found out I was allergic to one of the anti-nausea meds, so that made it a lot worse.
Ouch.
But what they tell you to do is, if you're having trouble with nausea and vomiting during chemotherapy, to talk to your doctor. So I did. I talked to my doctor, and she got me on a different schedule with my meds, and that one worked a lot better.
Great.
And then the next time I went in, they had a patch available. I don't know if you can see it on my arm. I've got it secured down with some athletic tape. I want to make sure it doesn't come off, but It's an anti-nausea patch that's for chemotherapy patients. I'm trying that out this go round. It seems to be working okay.
Is it one of those cool? I've seen so many different things. Like I think we may have talked about the Neulasta and how like back when I did it, when I went through chemotherapy in 2011, I had to go like a day or two after I had my chemo treatment. I had to go back down to the chemo center and have a shot of the Neulasta, which is a shot that raises your white blood cell count, because chemotherapy kills off white blood cells, and you need white blood cells to fight off infection and illness and stuff like that. And so it was actually going back in, getting a shot in my stomach, but more recently they have like a patch type of thing that actually injects it on its own on a timer. It's so crazy. I think it's the coolest thing ever.
I know.
So is this anti-nausea patch that you wear, is it just a patch, like a nicotine patch, or does it actually inject at a certain time?
No, there's no mechanism inside it. It's just a skin patch like you'd have for the nicotine, or like some people have it for pain.
Wow. That's so cool. And it's working really well for you so far?
It seems to be working okay. I've only had to take anti-nausea meds one time since I had it on.
That's so good, man, because I remember at the start it was not fun for you. And I know I told you when I went through triple negative breast cancer that I experienced 0 nausea. And at that time, again, I can't stress it enough, it's been 8 years since I had triple negative breast cancer, and so things have changed a lot. But back then, they had me on a regimen immediately to prevent me from getting nauseous at all. So it was totally different. But I'm so glad to hear that they have you under control with that. So how many, you have like one more treatment, is that right?
Yeah.
Of the
I have
AC?
one more AC treatment left.
Yep. And how soon after that do you start the Taxol?
I get a 3-week break. They give you a what they call a chemo vacation because the AC drugs interact with the Taxol, so they want to get that out of your system and before they start you on the next drug.
Wow. Okay, cool. So the Taxol will be next. And I think when I spoke to you about it before, as far as surgeries go, they're just waiting to get you through all the chemo, and then you guys talk about what the surgery is. I don't know. Did you get a chance to catch Dr. Joyce O'Shaughnessy at the beginning?
I have not, no.
Okay, yeah, you'll have to watch the replay because
I'm going to go back and watch the whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah, because she gave a lot of great information about the order in which they're doing things. Like now everybody's doing chemo first for triple negative, and then they're doing surgery after. Whereas with me, it was based on the size of the tumor back then. If you had a smaller tumor, you would have the chemo. If you had a large chemo after surgery, so you would have surgery first. But if your tumor was larger, you would have your chemo first and then the surgery. But now everybody's chemo first, then surgery. So it's kind of interesting. So I just wanted you to take us back to, you know, when you were diagnosed and kind of let everybody who's watching know like what you went through. What was that process mentally for you like?
Oh, man. I mean, you go through and you hear all that, you think of all the horror stories of, you know, people losing their health insurance, not being able to pay for treatment not working. I was so scared. But I knew that I had a better chance if I did get treatment than if I didn't.
Right.
So I got to admit, I at least did it for my family. I wasn't too sure. And I still had a lot of tests to be done to find out the extent of where everything was. There was a lot of days that I just broke down in tears like 3 or 4 times a day. And, you know, I was very thankful to have my friends and family around me to lift me up.
You know, and I hear that more often than not, that how important it is to have that, you know, support group in your life, whether it's your family, your friends, maybe church or whoever, you know, bandmates, you know, roller derby team, you know, just your friends in life that really help lift you up. And like you've started a Facebook group, a private Facebook group of your friends to really share with them the details about everything that you're going through, and it really gives all of us an opportunity to chime in and cheer you on as you go through this. It's been a really big help having your family and your friends around, right?
Oh, for sure. And my roller derby league, they have been an amazing source of support. And I mean, some days like a case of chicken soup will just show up at the house, and I'm like,
so
oh,
awesome.
somebody said something.
Yeah. And you know, for people that are going through chemo, a lot of times folks are like, you know, what can we do? What can we do to help and that kind of thing? What's been, aside from the emotional support, like what's something that somebody's given you or sent to you that you were like, you know, that was really cool. This really helped me out going through this.
I have a friend that goes to church every Sunday, and she lights the candle for me, and I really like that.
Oh, wow, that is really awesome. I love that. That's so cool. Nobody ever lit a candle for me, man. No, that's such a cool thing, you know? And it's funny because, you know, when people ask me, what do you do? Like, they want to send something or whatever. And a lot of times, you know, something people can do, they can pray if they're religious, you know, pray. That's one thing that you can really ask for. And then on the more practical side, you know, things like, have you had a problem with like your skin drying out really bad and things like that? Where you...
Yes,
yeah.
I'm having skin problems.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so your skin, a lot of times people may not be familiar. I'll tell them about it just a little bit real quick, but when you're on chemo, it just dries you out altogether. So your skin gets really dry, your eyes get really dry, your eyes water a lot. So some things that I found to be really helpful were some of the really good lotions and things like that. Sometimes when you're going through chemo, you don't want a lot of really strong smells because all your stuff is like really heightened. So like foods don't taste the same or anything like that. And really strong smells are just like kind of make you nauseous. So, you know, just some good lotions are a really good thing to get people going through chemo. Also, like some really cozy socks, like they have those aloe vera socks are really cool. You know, some of those kinds of things are really great to have. You know, just stuff that help you get more comfortable. You know, another question I was just curious, when I was talking to Becky Brewer earlier, we were talking about how the experience of going through triple negative breast cancer really changes your perspective on life in general. Has that happened for you?
Yeah.
Like,
I there's like so many more things I think I want to do now.
Yeah, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, are there things that like you've just had in your mind that you're like, wanted to do, and you're like, now you're kind of like, what am
I'm not
I
going
waiting
to run a
for?
marathon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so do you think that
Done a
that's,
half, so
yeah.
I can do a full, right?
Yeah, totally, man. And so has that kind of sped up your plans for doing some of those things? Like, do you actually have plans to do some of those things that you've put off?
Oh, that's so far in the future. Right now, I just want to get through this.
Like, first of all, I have to tell you that my dream is to have a 1978 Trans Am. And that's I think that's the only thing that, like, when I went through treatment, that I was like, what are the things that I've wanted to do that I haven't done?
Smoking the Bandit, right?
Yeah, exactly, dude. I totally want that car. I really do.
I support this dream.
Yeah, thank you. So, but there are some financial limitations because I do want it to be drivable. So it's not real easy to find a nice, good-looking, drivable 1978 Trans Am. But I would like to get that at some point in my life. So it's definitely given me a different perspective. So for those ladies watching out there that haven't gone through breast cancer, especially triple negative breast cancer, what would you tell them? Like what's an experience that you've gone through during this that maybe people aren't familiar with, like something that you've had to, that's been a challenge that you weren't ready for?
First would be to remove my dogs from the room. Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's not the first dog that's made its way on the program. Did you need me to repeat the question?
You said, yeah, can you repeat it?
No, it's fine. So has there been something since the moment that you were diagnosed to now that you've experienced as a result of either having breast cancer or going through chemo that was a surprise that you weren't ready for?
Oh, I didn't realize how much hair would be falling out.
Yeah.
That was a shock. And it's like you can literally just like rub it off. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
that was shocking. I think that's probably one of the more difficult things for a girl to go through. Yeah, cancer.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, and like the first moment that you realize it's falling out, it's apparent.
Yeah, it's like I washed my hair and then I brushed it after it dried a little bit, and 2 handfuls of hair came out in my hand.
Yeah.
I just had somebody just cut it all off. I had somebody buzz it all off and wear all these fabulous hairstyles that I don't have to pain.
Yeah. And it's interesting, we were talking about this earlier, I think with Courtney, is the reason, in case people are ever wondering, like, why does your hair fall out? So the chemotherapy, it actually attacks fast growing cells. And so it doesn't like pick favorites. It just goes after any fast growing cells. It could be good cells or it could be cancer cells. So cancer cells are fast moving. And so other things that are fast moving cells, or your white blood cells, things to do with your skin, things to do with your fingernails, and things to do with your hair. So you'll see changes in all of those things because they have fast growing cells. So, like, I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but when I went through chemotherapy, my fingernails actually turned brown, not dark brown, but like a light brown, starting at the base and just slowly throughout my chemo moving up until my whole fingernails on both hands were like a light brown. And then as soon as I stopped chemo, the opposite happened. They started to go back to the normal coloring starting at the base and going up. And so that was interesting. And yeah, you lose your hair, your skin gets dry, things like that. And you know, the point in which your hair falls out, it isn't ever like you expect it would be. I mean, like when it happened for me, my hair was in a ponytail and I pulled the hair tie out and I was like, oh my gosh, a lot more hair than normal came out when I pulled. It wasn't like stuck or anything. It wasn't like I ripped it out. You know, I just slowly, it was loose and I just kind of pulled it off and there was a lot of hair. And then I just took my hand and I just went like this and I was like, what the hell? You know, it was just like, it just came off. It was, and then I was just like, it was just like crazy, just coming off like every time you're like, whoa. And I remember the person who was going to shave my head, I like called her instantly. I was like, we got to speed up the date, man. I can't do this. I mean, not because for me, I wasn't, I don't know why I wasn't like, because my whole life, if you had asked me at any other point in time, do you love your hair? Would you ever have it short? I'd be like, no way, man. My hair is always going to be long. I don't like short hair. I want long hair. I was really into my hair. But because I was so focused on fighting cancer, none of that mattered anymore. And I was just like, I don't care. Let's get it. I didn't want to deal with the mess. It wasn't the psychological hair falling out. It was the mess of the hair falling out, because it was just like everywhere. It was a giant mess. So that part was
bed and my hat, everything.
Yeah. It's just a bigger mess than you could think of. Have you experienced any neuropathy or anything like that?
No, I haven't had any kind of problems with neuropathy.
Good. That's really great. And I think we have a question. Do we have a question from the audience?
Oh, well, you changed the topic. But
oh, it's okay.
I was going to talk about like your hair, like your eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now with your the AC. It's really just the hair on your head that's fall out. You haven't had it fall off anywhere else, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's interesting to me, even sitting here talking about this. This is one of those millions of things that I would love to ask Dr. O'Shaughnessy, just out of curiosity. But with the Adriamycin cytoxin, the AC, you lose the hair on your head. However, with the Taxol, at least what happened with me and happens with most everybody else, is I remember them distinctly saying this to me between my last AC and my first Taxol. They said, oh, you lost the hair you lost your hair on your head. I'm like, yeah. And they were like, well, the rest of it's about to come off. And I was like, oh, crap, seriously. So with the Taxol, you lose it all. Your eyebrows, your eyelashes, the hair on your arms and legs, any hair on your entire body, in your nose. I'm talking all hair is gone, And I always tell people this because it sounds like, I don't know if when I say this to you, if we've talked about that before, or if you knew that was coming, or if this is
I know it's coming.
Okay, good. I didn't want to be like, she's like, no, don't be telling me that.
Yeah, this is not Gotcha TV.
Yeah, this is not Gotcha TV. But and I tell everybody this when I have this conversation is, it's so funny because, like I said, I was so focused on fighting the breast cancer that the loss of hair didn't bother me, and it was actually so cool because everything was so smooth. You didn't have to worry with anything. You didn't have to worry about shampooing, conditioning your hair and drying it. You have to worry about shaving your legs or plucking your chin or, narrowing your upper lip or anything, none of that stuff. It was just all clean, soft, everything. It was actually really, I don't know, kind of cool. I mean, I don't want to do it again, don't get me wrong. But, if you're kind of embracing it for what it is, it was actually kind of cool to come out of it like that. So.
And you could glide through a swimming pool like a porpoise.
Only Dave Curley could say such things. Well, it looks like we're ending the the end of our broadcast, Amy, and it's so cool that you're like the headliner chick, and you're really coming across like a rock star, and like you're really got a firm handle on this, and you're gonna kick it in the tail, and you got no doubts about that, and you're just ready to do whatever it takes to fight through this triple negative breast cancer, huh?
I'm a fighter.
Yeah, for reals, man. Guys, Amy Pippi Boyd, roller derby chick extraordinaire, joining us tonight. Thank you so much for joining the show, Amy, and helping us bring awareness to triple negative breast cancer, and continue to kick butt, man. Personal level, anytime you need anything, hit me up. I'm here for you, girl, and we all love you, okay?
Love you, April.
You take care, girl.
All right, bye. All
right, y'all, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we're probably going to end out with that video because it's been really, really cool to show that and just remind everybody we've got a big show coming up April the 18th, Lava Cantina at the Calling, and we're going to be doing more fundraising for Breast Cancer Can Stick It. One last push, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who's donated tonight for the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Day broadcast. We're still raising funds all week long at the website listed below, breastcancercanstickit.org/TNBC. Be sure to make a donation, guys. You can make a donation anywhere. Facebook, you can go to our website, you can go to this special link tonight and make a donation to help us stick it to triple negative breast cancer. Guys, thank you so much for Joyce O'Shaughnessy, Dr. Joyce O'Shaughnessy joined us early on. We also had Becky Brewer, Courtney Phillips Long, and Amy Pippi Boyd joining us as all of our survivors in the house. Guys, send up prayers for them. Give them a big shout out. Show them love in the comments. If you're watching the replay, tag them, show them some love. They'll be seeing this. And again, we're taking donations all week long. And we will see you next year for our 7th annual Triple Negative Breast Cancer Day broadcast. Thank you so much for joining. You guys rock.